Welcome to a new edition of South Sound Business Report. Today looking at the business of outdoor recreation. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Jeff Rounds. Thanks for joining us, and thank you also to Puget Sound Energy for its long-term support of this program about businesses in the South Sound. Visitors to the state of Washington spent $16.4 billion last year, according to the industry, and that's the fourth largest industry segment in this state. We're standing here in the shadow of the largest tourist attraction in Washington, Mount Rainier. My program co-host, Holly Smith-Peterson, is visiting with Roger Andrascik, the acting assistant superintendent of Mount Rainier National Park.
Welcome to the show today, Roger.
Oh, thank you.
Mount Rainier National Park, it's absolutely gorgeous, it's huge. What specifically brings people here?
Well, we get about 1.5 million visitors a year, and the predominant number of folks that come here tend to really enjoy driving and sightseeing. They come here for the natural quiet, for the beauty that the park has. The fact that this scenery, I mean, it's just spectacular when you have a chance to see it on a clear day. It's kind of peeking its head out today. Opportunities to see wildlife and the forest, as well as the subalpine meadows. So those are probably some of the predominant draws. The fact we have clean air and clean water. Occasionally we do get inversions that come in, or some days when you can't see the mountain from Seattle or Tacoma, but when people get up here, it's quite clear.
And it's year-round too. It's not just the summer hiking, but also winter sports too.
That's correct. There are certain areas of the park that are closed just due to the snowpack, but we do try to keep the road open to Paradise during the winter time. And then, you know, as far as driving, you know, when people are coming into the park, there's a lot of opportunities for day hiking. Most of our visitation here, almost 73% of it is day use. So we get a lot of folks coming in for hiking, and then also viewing the wildflowers and just trying to enjoy it for the day.
With the day piece of it, about how many visitors are from Washington State itself?
So yeah, we have 64% of the visitation is from Washington State alone, and then about 6% actually comes in from foreign countries, like Japan and Germany predominantly, and then get about 25 other countries.
Okay. And do you have any numbers as far as how much revenue the park brings in on an annual basis?
Well, the park itself has, we had a study that was done back in 2010, and there was roughly $35.4 million.
Just for the park?
That was brought into the park and the local community. So it was about 1.2 million visitors that particular year.
And that's a huge revenue driver for the surrounding communities
as
well.
That's correct.
Which
right.
ones benefit most?
That I'm not certain of. We have a variety of gateway areas, you know, Enumclaw, the Greenwater area, Eatonville, Ashford, Packwood, yeah, those that are surrounding us.
And obviously with that much revenue, we're talking jobs. About
yes.
How many jobs, how many people directly work for the park?
Oh, for the park itself, we have about 120 or so permanent employees, and then we also have another couple hundred seasonal employees. And then on top of that, the concessionaire has over 400, and that includes the lodging, guest services, as well as the climbing concessionaires. There's 3 of those here at the park.
So with all the attractions and all of the visitors coming in and doing this economic driving, there have been some incidents, some tragedies in the park as well this year. And how have you handled something like that from a public relations standpoint as the park being a business?
Well, as a business, I think things have been pretty normal as far as what the public sees. We've had an outpouring of support from our sister parks around the country. The local communities have been great. A lot of the different agencies have come in and stepped up and helped us.
And you said the employees have had some training as well.
The employees have had some counseling. Some counselors have been into the park and worked with us.
Or just how to react to the plan.
And how to react. And we've informed our employees, you know, on some talking points to address that. At the same time, if they don't feel comfortable to talk about it, we've told them they don't need to.
Okay. And from your perspective, you've been working here for over 10 years. What are some of the things that you like to do? Some things you would recommend for people who haven't been here before?
If you have an opportunity to just get out and hike, it's probably the best thing. Most of the public, I would say, stays on the paved roads, and they really don't get out too far, you know, outside of the main developed areas, Sunrise and Paradise. And really, once you get out into the park, you can really experience that reason why people come here. And
one final question, what can local businesses do to help the park, to get people in here?
Well, we're real interested in trying to get some new visitation in the park. And by that I'm talking about diversity. New, you know, whether it's youth or some of the non-traditional users into the park. The other thing that we're really kind of concerned about is what the budget cuts are going to be for us, perhaps.
That is a little scary.
Yeah, and one of the concerns about that is we're going to be able to maintain the same level of service that we've always been able to provide in the past.
But you're also looking at doing some new things as well, a new welcome center.
Yes, over in Enumclaw, there's plans for a new welcome center. Up at Camp Muir, we've got some plans for new facilities that are up there. Eventually up at Paradise, the Annex, and then a lot of road construction that's going to be going on.
Well, that's fantastic. So some old and some new.
Yes.
Well, Roger Andrascik, thank you so much for being with us today.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
State government in Washington has no tourism office. In fact, it's the only state among 50 that does not have a governmental agency to invite visitors to come see our natural wonders and spend some money. That doesn't mean nothing is happening to promote tourism, however. It's just that the task has fallen to people like Mary Kay Nelson, who is the executive director of Visit Rainier. You also have your own business, MK Marketing. Tell me about Visit Rainier and what is its function?
Visit Rainier was developed about 6 years ago to address the fact that no one really was marketing the beautiful icon that we have in our state, Mount Rainier. We needed a promotional body, and Pierce County felt that it justified spending some of their tax dollars, their lodging tax dollars, on a promotional effort. So we represent all the gateway communities around the mountain who depend on the mountain for their livelihood.
And again, your funding comes from lodging tax collections, not from the general government coffers.
That's true. By state law, the lodging tax dollars that are collected on room nights has to be spent for tourism promotion. That the state got right. They put that money there for the communities to spend to attract visitors and to promote the area. So Pierce County created Visit Rainier in 2005 to do just that. And we have a comprehensive program all around the mountain based on mostly website development, Facebooking, all the social medias, as well as newsletters, and we really try to work individually with the travelers.
So this is the second summer that hasn't had an organized state-funded program. How's it working? Is your group gaining traction? Are you finding, I'm sure you've got a lot of activity on the websites and so on.
We do. We did not see this coming as quickly as it happened, but we did see it coming. So statewide, the industry has stepped up. It's one of those be careful what you wish for. Many people wanted to see this happen, would have liked a little more time to organize before it did happen, but they have put a call out to industry-wide attractions, dining, lodging, all the transportation issues that depend on tourism have come together to create an organization that's going to take this forward and work with legislature to create a $7 million budget.
Mount Rainier National Park, where we're now enjoying nature, is the largest tourist attraction in the state of Washington. It may not be as iconic as the Space Needle, which the rest of the world identifies with Seattle, but in terms of visitors, how does this rank in bringing visitors to the Northwest?
Well, I think most everybody would have to agree that if you're going to come to Washington, you better make a trip to Mount Rainier. No matter what the time of year, the attractions, the activity, the outdoor recreation that's here is second to none. and it is got a special place in everyone's heart that lives here. So everybody that comes to visit, their friends and family, will bring them up here, we hope, for a visit to Mount Rainier.
How long do typically visitors from out of state stay in the area?
We usually see a 2 to 3 night stay. It's not necessarily a whole week unless you're going to do some extensive backpacking, camping, and a lot of activities. We've put together drive itineraries on our website that show how many different places you can get to around the mountain, and that will help keep them longer. We'd like to have them stay longer.
And how do the commercial businesses that provide services, lodging or food or whatever for visitors, how are they connected with Visit Rainier?
Well, that's what we're all about, is putting heads in beds, and by doing that, we have 63 lodging properties on our website. We have every business in our service area is listed. It's not a membership organization because we're funded by lodging tax dollars, and we feel our business is to promote their business.
And so they are members of your board, I presume, helping to determine what activities you do?
Correct. We're a nonprofit organization, so we have a board of directors that manages the overall program, and I manage the day-to-day activities.
Days like this, it's easy to imagine what we could enjoy about Mount Rainier. Not every day of the year looks like this. What can we do to enjoy the region in the winter?
Well, and that is where regional efforts do come in handy, because when the park is socked in and it's not a beautiful view and there isn't access, we can promote Crystal Mountain, the White Pass ski area, we can promote all the other regions around the mountain. So we kind of sweep in all the regions, and there's always something to do, and in the wintertime, there's a heck of a lot of outdoor recreation.
Now, we talked about lodging taxes, and yet many people are coming to nature to enjoy camping. Doesn't involve a lodging tax collection, but those visitors also have food supplies or meals or whatever.
Well, absolutely, but many of our campgrounds do collect lodging tax dollars.
Okay.
Some of the RV parks and in the National Forest, and those do collect lodging tax dollars.
A recent trip up the Highway 12 corridor past southern side of Mount Rainier, I saw an awful lot of tourism-related businesses with for sale signs on them. Is this an industry that's still in distress?
I would say the world is in distress right now.
Well, that's true.
We have seen more visitors in our national parks because it is still an economical place to go, to get away, to take your family, to enjoy the out of doors. The businesses, it's very seasonal. To put it bluntly, it's really hard to make a living when you have several months that there just isn't a reason to have a business operating. So we see a lot of turnover in the tourism industry, but that corridor that you mentioned has a couple of new things going for it, with the enhancement of the White Pass Scenic Byway and the national designation 2 years ago. We're hoping to get that up and more marketing done on that corridor, as well as the expansion at White Pass in that ski area. So I think there's some good things down the pike for the southern side.
We look forward to it, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff. We'll be back in a minute to visit with 2 South Sound businesses in the outdoor recreation and visitor sector. But first, here's a message from our sponsor, Puget Sound Energy.
For more than 12 years, Providence St. Peter Hospital has been partnering with PSE's Energy Efficiency Program. As a result, in the past year, we've been able to save over $700,000 on our utility bill.
What PSE is doing by investing in renewable energy and wind farms is really an investment in the future.
We're in the community and on call for our customers day or night.
PSE is working hard to provide me and my family with dependable service.
The Olympia Farmers Market. You can just taste the excitement. The best seafood, the freshest produce, organic meats and savory cheeses, the most delicious baked breads, the prettiest plants and flowers, and the finest handcrafted gifts from all over the South Sound. Listen to the great sounds at the covered Farmers Market stage and picnic area. Meet old friends and enjoy the festive atmosphere you can only find at the Olympia Farmers Market. Thursday through Sunday, 10 to 3. The Olympia Farmers Market at the foot of Capitol Way in downtown Olympia.
The Heck family has been operating private enterprise campgrounds in the Olympia area since 1979. Today we visit their first one, the American Heritage Campground just off I-5 at exit 99, and this is Perry Heck, a second-generation co-owner of this campground as well as Olympia Campgrounds. Tell us how your family got into this hospitality business.
Well, it had been something that they had always wanted to do, just based on the traveling that we did as kids and as a family for years. And these two parks became available as a package deal, and they pretty much had a few months to decide what to do, and boom, they were gone. And I joined them approximately a year later and have been here since.
It really is a family business.
It is.
You've got, you were telling me your wife is the customer or the guest relations manager or something?
At the Olympia Campground.
Right.
And when she can get outside and work out there, she's right there with me on the backhoe or whatever else we have to do.
Is it, I mean, clearly it's a full-time job.
It is. It is. You don't leave in the summer. If you leave, somebody has to know where you're at. And it's just a way of life.
How many spaces here at this campground?
We are we're just about 100, just under 100 sites.
And you're literally less than a mile from the freeway exit.
Correct, yeah.
And you've got pull-through capabilities, or at least,
not at this park.
the other park.
The destination park, the Olympia Campground. We've got the pull-throughs.
What's the difference between this one, the American Heritage? You call it a destination park.
We cater towards families, towards people planning vacations lasting for several days, or just overnight. Or a lot of people now are coming in because they can't afford to travel elsewhere. Mm-hmm. They actually come in during the week and will commute to work, and mom stays here with the kids, and it works out well.
Some people are calling those staycations. So you're close to home, and yet you're in a different world, because this is unlike anybody's residence in a city that I've seen.
Mm-hmm. That way you forget your can opener, you can drive back home and get it.
Is it difficult to keep a business like this going in today's economy?
In the last 10 years, we're probably half of what we should as far as occupancy goes, whereas income goes down and the price of operating continues to go up, and there's a fine line there. And I don't know, we're still here, so so I think that we're, if we can just hang on and work together, I think we can probably pull through.
Some people have told me in today's economy that survival is success.
Absolutely.
So you're a success.
I think so.
You're still at it.
I think so.
There are challenges in outdoor recreation. The state parks have had big reductions, and you've talked about your business being off a bit. Are you perhaps seeing any spillover from folks? Well, you said they can't afford to travel. We're not going to drive to the Black Hills and see Mount Rushmore, maybe.
Well, we're getting a lot more local traffic, less travelers this time of the year. The significant amount of travelers generally is more predominant when you've got your Canadians moving south, or people moving south, or coming back up here, for the winter months. Mm-hmm. And a lot more people in tents, small travel trailers. The big RVs are down, I would say.
Right. Most of them are on the consignment lots that I've seen.
I think I would tend to agree with you there, but we've got, they got some nice trailers, that these smaller SUVs can pull, and the tent trailers and things like that. So we're seeing people coming back out. It's just not in the numbers that we really need to.
What do they do for fun when they're here as guests in your campground?
Most of them I see relaxing.
Okay.
Because they can bring their kids, they bring their bikes, they bring their dogs, and they feel safe, and their kids have fun.
You have access, and yet you're not on a thoroughfare.
Absolutely.
I don't see a lot of traffic going through here.
No, it's weekend will be busy. The first few sites in the entrance, you'll get a lot of traffic coming in and out all the time. But it's still, once everybody's here, it's a nice, peaceful environment. We've got the swimming pool and the other activities. We've got an animal farm. The kids enjoy going out there feeding the goats, and my wagon ride at night at 5:30, most popular.
Wow.
Popular thing in the state, sometimes you think.
That's great.
The kids just love it.
Thank you, Perry Heck, for sharing a part of your day with us. And we invite people to check out the American Heritage Campground or Olympia Campground.
Well, I appreciate you coming out. Thank you.
Now we're speaking with Joe Hyer, CEO of Alpine X in Olympia. Welcome, Joe.
Thank you.
Having the mountain right over there on your doorstep, does that affect your business in any way?
Absolutely. I mean, our business is totally based on access. It's like, our infrastructure are trails and rivers where people use roads. And we need the roads to get to the mountains, but once you're in there, you got to have trails, you got to have vistas, you got to have wildflowers, or people aren't going to go enjoy it. So having Mount Rainier in the back, literally the backyard, and the Olympics in the other backyard has been huge.
And what kinds of things, what brings people to your shop? What do they buy?
I mean, for trips to Mount Rainier, it's everything from just camping and, books on flowers, all the way up to crampons and ice axes and tents and backpacks for trips to the summit. And trips to the summit is where we outfit local people, but also people from around the country and sometimes around the world.
So that's fantastic. You're bringing in customers from not just the Olympia area, but all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, most of our activity for Rainier is going to be local, but every year we have some customers that come in from around the country or even internationally to climb the mountain. And in many ways, the airlines help us a little. You can't take stove fuel on a plane these days. So, and getting them through the door, they always find other things. And a lot of gear you don't own. You rent it if you're only going once.
That's true. Is it a year-round business then, because you've got the snow and you've got the hiking and all of that?
At Mount Rainier, it's much more of a summer than a winter business. In the winter, the issue really is you only have one road into the park, and it only opens some days depending on the snow. So with that limited access, it makes ski areas and lower elevation areas much more kind of important. But that access to paradise on Mount Rainier is critical in the winter months.
And you're also a pretty big employer here as far as the tourism industry goes. How many employees do you have?
We right now have about 35, and we do have about 45 in the winter months. FTEs, full-times, equivalents, it's really about 25. But yeah, it certainly keeps people employed around here. If we didn't have that business, well, we probably wouldn't be in business.
So what do you look for in employees when you're hiring, doing what you do? It's kind of a specialized niche.
Well, I have to say, in all the years, some of the best employees I've ever hired really weren't people that did hiking and climbing and outdoor stuff. They were really intelligent people with good communication skills who were passionate and learned those activities as they sold stuff.
So you had to have a passion basically for working, for life, and all of that, and then they could continue.
Really, yeah. People, I mean, more than anything, we try and get people who go hiking to also go paddling, to also go climbing, to spread out and branch out, try new things. And so even employees, you can do that as well.
And so if somebody walked in here and had no idea what you could do on Mount Rainier, what do you tell them? How do you guide them?
Well, that's where, I mean, we ask questions a lot. What have you done? What have you seen? Where have you been? If you've never experienced the old growth, river valleys, you may want to get some of the lower altitude things as opposed to the alpine meadows if you've spent years in Colorado. So it's really about asking questions of what people want to experience and then giving them the tools to get out there. And a lot of that for us is maps and navigation for specific activities.
Okay. And then finally, being a small business and a local business, you've got some big box types of things down the road that do what you do. What are some of the challenges that you have?
Well, the challenge is sheer size. It's much easier for a difficult winter or a bad weather summer to be weathered by a retailer that has shops all over the country or the world than for one small shop. So we do have significant challenges competing. Advantages, we do have some in that we are local. We are from here. Our store's management are people that hike and climb in this area.
So they absolutely know it.
Yeah, a lot of the chain stores, when they move in, will move in all of their management team too from elsewhere. So they don't have a working knowledge of trails and roads, and particularly in our mountains, what's open what winter and what spring and what roads out and what's washed out and which trails. And it's a lot to keep up on, and with government budget cuts, there hasn't been near as much information coming out from the Park Service. So we've had to pick up a lot of that.
Okay. Well, that's what you can bring to the table then, is local knowledge and experience.
You betcha.
Well, Joe, thanks so much for being with us today.
Not a problem. Thanks for having me.
And that's our South Sound Business Report on outdoor experiences and tourism. Thank you to Mother Nature for this magnificent palette that she brings to us, and to the guests on today's program for sharing their knowledge. They invite you to experience it for yourself. We appreciate Mobility Media Design and its principal, Richard Aronson, for his technical wizardry to bring the magnificent pictures and sound to you. We also are thankful to Puget Sound Energy for its long-term sponsorship support of South Sound Business Report. We'll have another episode of South Sound Business Report next week, same time and same channel. We hope you'll join us then.
For more than 12 years, Providence St. Peter Hospital has been partnering with PSE's Energy Efficiency Program. As a result, in the past year, we've been able to save over $700,000 on our utility bill.
What PSE is doing by investing in renewable energy and wind farms is really an investment in the future.
We're in the community and on call for our customers day or night.
PSE is working hard to provide me and my family with dependable service.
So many different options when choosing a rental home. How do you choose the right one? Especially when you can't always see the house in person before you move in. That's what I love to do, help people find the perfect rental home. You can visit my website, look at dozens of available homes, even watch some videos of those homes. And of course, call me anytime because that's what I do. I can help you find the perfect place to live. So whether you're across the street or across the world, let Hometown Property Management show you the way home.